Hello, scholars of Clayton County Public Schools. My name is Ebony Brown. I am the coordinator of elementary English language arts. I spread literacy all across the district. I want all of the students in Clayton County Public Schools to know how to read and write with mastery. Scholars, today I have a very special friend here with me. I will allow her to introduce herself.
Hello, scholars. My name is Audrey Hamilton, Director of Nutrition Services for our school district. I'm responsible for ensuring that all of our students have breakfast, lunch, and snacks each and every day. Every day, the cafeteria provides over 71,548 meals to over 55,000 students in grades pre-K through 12.
Wow, now that's a lot of food. I am so thankful for the nutrition team for providing meals daily for all of our scholars here in Clayton County Public Schools. Scholars, make sure to tell your cafeteria staff thank you today when you go to lunch. Today, we are joining Jumpstart's Read for the Record campaign to spread literacy. This year, our featured book is entitled Thank You, Amu. Amu in Nigerian means queen. The author-illustrator of Thank You, Amu refers to Amu as grandmother.
The author and illustrator of this book is Oge Mora. She is an award-winning author. Thank You, Amu won many awards since 2018. Awards such as the Coretta Scott King Award, the Calder Scott Honor Book, the Ezra Jack Keats Book Award, just to name a few. She studied illustration in college and loves to use different materials like paint paper, scan texture, Photoshop, and book jackets to create her illustration. We can't wait to share this book with you, scholars.
Before we start our story time today, we want to share a few vocabulary words with you. Make sure that you are listening for these words.
Here is a scrumptious bowl of stew. It is a mixture of meat and other foods cooked slowly.
That smells scrumptious. Scrumptious means tasty. Mrs. Hamilton, as you have prepared this stew, it has been wafting through the air, such a wonderful scent. Guess what, scholars? Today, when you go to the cafeteria, you will have an option to have stew as one of your choices for lunch. Make sure to choose wisely. It's scrumptious.
We want everyone to share a scrumptious bowl of stew today for Read for the Record.
Okay, scholars, let's get ready to discover Thank You, Amu. Remember, eyes looking, ears listening. Thank You, Amu by Oge Mora. On the corner of First Street and Long Street, on the very top floor, Amu was cooking a thick red stew in a big fat pot for a nice evening meal. She seasoned it, she stirred it, and she took a small taste. What a delicious stew, Amu said. Tonight's dinner will surely be the best I ever had. With that, Amu put down her spoon and went to read a book before supper. As the thick red stew simmered on the stove, its scrumptious scent wafted out the window, down out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until, knock, 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 someone was at the door. When Amu opened it, she saw
A little boy. Little boy, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my home? I was playing with my race car down the hall when I smelled the most delicious smell. The little boy replied, what is it? Thick red stew. Stew, he sighed. That sounds really yummy. Amu thought for a moment. She was saving her stew for dinner, but she had made quite a bit. It would not hurt to share. Would you like some? The little boy nodded. And so Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Amu, the little boy said, and went on his way.
With that, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. As she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent wafted out the window, out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the block until, knock, knock, someone was at the door. When Amu opened the door, she saw
a police officer. Miss Police Officer, Amu exclaimed, what brings you to my home? I was on duty down the street when I smelled the most delicious smell. Miss Police Officer replied, what is it? Thick red stew. Ah, stew, she said, and her mouth watered. That sounds mighty tasty. Amu thought for a moment. There was still enough to share. Would you like some? The police officer nodded. Once again, Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Amu, the police officer said, and went on her way.
And so, for the second time, Amu closed the door and went back to her book. Sure enough, as she read, her thick red stew's scrumptious scent wafted out the window, out the door, down the hall, toward the street, and around the corner. Until, knock, 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 again, someone was at Amu's door. This time she opened it, she saw
a hot dog vendor. Mr. Hot Dog Vendor, Amu explained, what brings you to my home? I was selling my hot dogs down the block when I smelled the most delicious smell. Mr. Hot Dog Vendor replied, what is it? Thick red stew. Ooh, stew. The vendor licked his lips. That sounds delectable.
So, Amu spooned out some thick red stew from the big fat pot for her nice evening meal. Thank you, Amu, the hot dog vendor said, and went on his way.
Throughout the day, people from all across the neighborhood knocked on Amu's door. She fed a shop owner, a cab driver, a doctor, an actor, a lawyer, a dancer, a baker, an artist, a singer, an athlete, a bus driver, a construction worker, and even the mayor stopped by. And each time they knocked, Amu shared.
Soon, the sky darkened, the street lights brightened, and it finally was time for dinner. But when Amu opened her big fat pot of thick red stew for her evening meal, it was empty.
Amu sniffled. There goes the best dinner I ever had. Sorry and blue, she sat at her table with her empty pot until knock, 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 knock. Who could that be? Amu wondered. When she opened the door, she saw the little boy, the police officer, the hot dog vendor, the shop owner, the cab driver, the doctor, the actor, the lawyer, the dancer, the baker, while everyone she fed today was at her door. I'm sorry, everyone, Amu sighed. My thick red soup is all gone. I have nothing left to share. The little boy tugged at Amu's sleeve. Don't worry, Amu. We're not here to ask, we are here to give.
Police officer carried a fresh salad. The mayor entered with a roast chicken. The baker brought a collection of sweet goodies. Even the little boy presented Amu with something special in a shiny red envelope. Everyone who had knocked on Amu's door that day squeezed into her tiny apartment, and together they ate, danced, and celebrated. While Amu's big fat pot of thick red stew was empty, her heart was full of happiness and love.
The dinner was the best she ever had, and everyone said, "Thank you, Amu."
That was a great story. My favorite part was all the community helpers showing up at Amu's apartment.
I really like how she gave all of her stew away. Amu, in a sense, is a hunger avenger. A hunger avenger is a superhero who avenges hunger in her community. Just like what the school nutrition department does. If you look around, you see hunger avengers all around this room. That is our 2019-2020 school year theme, because the school nutrition department is avenging hunger.
We are so thankful for the nutrition department and their avenging of hunger in our school district. Students, have you shown gratitude today? If not, let's try it right now. Lean in. Come on. Lean in. On the count of 3, I want you to tell your teacher, "Thank you for teaching me." Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you for teaching me. Teachers, thank you for all that you do on a daily basis to share literacy and ensure that our students are learning to read and write and are reading and writing to learn. Scholars, make sure to continue to be grateful and share with others. Mrs. Hamilton, thank you for sharing this year's Read for the Record with me. I am very appreciative. Until next time, make sure that you read a book and have some stew for lunch.